Some man in the crowd was approached and said, some of our friends went up that way and they said they smelled something, but they didn't go that deep, Mr. Gowan said. Authorities have not said how the child died or released any other details at this point. As I said, this is an investigation that is only 3 days old. So there won't be a lot of detail as yet, but the second there is, you can bet your butt that I will make sure that you are updated. KCK police spokesman, Officer Tim Tomasic, said authorities found the body at 5:45 after receiving several tips, not just one. There were several tips pointing to this location. So her father, 29-year-old Howard Jansen III, was arrested and booked into Wyandotte County Detention Center Friday night on a 48-hour hold, pending charges of first-degree murder and child abuse of a child. Now, what I heard was that he actually had a warrant, so they took him in on that warrant, knowing that they needed to get him in. He must have been a flight risk, because if there was a warrant that hadn't been served, then maybe, just maybe, he did flee and has been trying to avoid the police. So they figured, let's get him on this, because this bastard's going to up and run. Which it happens a lot. So police are lucky when that happens, if you ask me. You know, you've got this heinous crime and, you know, the evidence just isn't there as yet. You know that there will be, you know that, because testing takes time, interviews take time. So if they've got a warrant, then it's the perfect excuse to put them on hold until other charges can be brought forward. He's being held without bond. And the warrant he's being held on actually originated from Kansas City, so hometown. So he must have been hiding out. I heard something about there was no electricity in the house where they were found, and they were, it wasn't even their house. They were squatting, but I can't confirm that. So please don't quote me on that, but that is something I read. But early on in investigations, there is a lot of misinformation that goes out. And I do try to avoid that because I don't want to be leading anyone in the wrong direction. So when I do hear things that are a bit iffy about, I do always state that it might not be the case. So don't quote me. The FBI is assisting the police with the crime scene, as it turns out. Because it's turned from a missing persons case to a criminal investigation. Thank God for that too, because sometimes, you know, I believe that the FBI and all of those agencies really should get involved when it's a child that's been murdered. I believe that these people need to be taken off the streets. But then again, when it comes to children, I feel about children like I do about pets. I know, it's going to sound bad, but a human's murdered, an adult human, I'm just like, let's go report on that. But when a child or an animal is murdered, holy cow, try and tie me down. Because my anger and sadness for the animal and for the child is just beyond anything. But an adult, not too fast. The officer that had liaised with the media beforehand, Tomasic, he actually went out again and to the media and said that they're going to take their time with this one. They're going to take it very slowly. Noting that investigators will process the scene and get every piece of evidence possible to assist with any possible further prosecution. So the police are pissed. They're pissed that a child has died. They're pissed that it's filicide. So hopefully nothing will fall through. Because we all know that if there's a fast investigation, if it's really fast, like bang, 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 a lot of the times it falls through because they haven't done the proper homework. And they haven't made sure that they secured a guilty verdict. They just like to go straight into court and just hope to hell that the jury will say, oh yeah, he's accused of it, let's go. Guilty, and that's it. Thomas Sick actually went on to say it is hard to know when charges might be filed for Olivia's death, but we will make sure that the person responsible for this is charged. Good on him. So and he said, after a long day of searching, this isn't the outcome for which the family, police, and the community hope for. It hits home for all of us. This is not what we want, obviously. This is definitely the worst way that this could have ended, he told KCKPD. He said with KCKPD. Now we need to focus on making sure that whoever is responsible is charged correctly. Further details will not be released by KCK police until after the body is officially identified and the scene of where the body was found is thoroughly examined. Now, I heard she was in a shallow grave, but then again, as I said before, it's so early in this case that could be misinformation. When I find out all of this, I've got a couple of contacts close to there in a couple of reporters that I know. And so you can bet your butt, like, due to the nature of everything, of course it's going to be a big story for them. Of course, being reporters, this is a big case for them. So I can't, as much as I would love to have them on the phone every 2 minutes finding out information, I do know that I'm going to have to wait. And the time difference is a tough one as well, because it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon here and it's probably during the night over there. So it is a tough one, but I will give updates. So family members told KCTV5 News that Olivia's mother is serving a sentence for a crash that injured a 13 child, so she's incarcerated. Relatives said she learned of what happened to her daughter while in prison. Well, a large crowd then gathered not too far from where the little body was. One resident said, "We all still hold each other's hand in grief when bad things happen to the children in our neighbourhood." KCK police are working to make sure the family gets justice. Olivia went by many nicknames, including Livy, and a vigil was given for her that night. Let's talk about the tips. So a tip brought investigators to the location where they made the devastating discovery. A witness said a man reported seeing two people get out of a vehicle with a blanket and shovel near a walking trail in that area. So Mr. Gowan, who knew the family, said to reporters, "I have 4 young daughters of my own." He also helped search for Olivia. "This hits home bad. I know these people. I grew up with them. It's the biggest shock ever. I don't understand." None of us do, mate. Police and searchers of Olivia's family said the dad and girlfriend... The stories that the dad and girlfriend told investigators and family members apparently didn't add up. Her father reported she was last seen at the home of Gibbs, which is a family member, but the family no longer lived there. They didn't report her missing from the home where they were staying, which, like I said, I heard there's no electricity. Anyway, now, a woman by the name of Mindy Cartwright, who was in the search, said they were at an abandoned house no lights, no gas, and you decided to stay there last night? ? When you have a house that has no lights, why would you be there? Good question. If you've got a house, why would you? Evidence? Did they plan to kill her? Is that why they went there? I guess we'll find out. KCTV5 News spoke to the girl's grandmother and step-grandmother, who both say Olivia's father and girlfriend would not let them see little Olivia. Vicky Sandon, one of the grandmothers, said he quit talking to me in February and told me I'd never see my granddaughter again. Now, the step-grandmother, that must have been the grandmother, step-grandmother Elizabeth Jansen said, I've called the cops, I've called DCF. There's been reports made and nobody did anything to help that little girl. That little girl should be here playing with no cares in the world. Now, Officer Tomasic then went on to add to his conference, it's horrible. Obviously, no one wants this to be the end. There is no ways to describe it. When asked why the father did not call 911, police said that they don't know.